Oh, my dear workers, look at you all, working into the wee hours of the night, taking initiative. Your work ethic is truly commendable.
You literally told us we would have to be here and work overtime or else you hire staffs to replace us. I don't think...
Alas, alas. To celebrate this hard work, I shall give you the rest of the night off. Wait, but I have a proposition. Actually, it's not really a proposition since I am your boss. Anyway, since you guys all have the night off, you must come to my humble abode to meet my lovely friend slash roommate slash maybe lover.
I would love to come!
Oh, actually, Trump, now that I think about it, I did donate all of my food to the food bank, so I only have enough food for like 7 people. The rest of you, you should definitely come. You all said you had no plans. Also, let's not forget, I am your capitalist overlord, so your livelihoods do depend on me, please. It's just my housewarming.
Hey, no worries, folks. I can bring my own food from my own overworked private chef. I can make this dinner party great again.
Nice. Welcome to Carnegie Hall.
He always makes decisions without me.
So, as you can see here, Marx has really taken on the interior decorating. He's very big into the feng shui of it all.
Wow, I love the communist influences of it all.
I like...
Looks really good, Carl.
Ah, thanks! I was really inspired by the unity of the people. You know, one of the benefits of communism is engaging with the arts. When you don't live for labor, the other life aspects of your life can really blossom. Yeah, Marx, I really love what you've done with the place. I mean, the greedy, profit-seeking exploiter cannot see beyond the end of his nose. He has no capacity for literature, no appreciation of art, no soul for beauty. That is the penalty the parasites pay for the violation of the laws of life.
Okay, pardon your language when you speak of me. Please let me show you how I have made this place my own. Look over here. You know, you guys don't really have to be all dramatic when your workers of the world unite talk and your working class solidarity baloney. The rich are here to help, to donate, to lift up and the naturally inferior poor. Just look at me. I contributed 0.5% of my total net worth to the creation of Carnegie Mellon. We're doing our God-given duty. I actually wrote a book about it. You should read it. It's called The Gospel of Wealth.
I'm okay, Carnegie. I think we've heard enough of your nonsense. Why don't you go check on the food? I think that's enough, yeah.
No, I won't. I think I've tolerated this whole communism thing you've done for far too long.
You've tolerated it? Care to speak about your extreme union-busting activities?
Look, do not think we will ever have serious labor trouble again. We had to teach our employees a lesson, and we have taught them one they will never forget. I did what I had to do. The union disturbed production and asked for completely unreasonable demands.
Unreasonable? All that we, the communists, want to do away with is the miserable character of this appropriation of wage labor, under which the laborer lives merely to increase capital and is only allowed to live insofar as the interest of the ruling class requires it. In bourgeois society, living labor is but a means to increase accumulated labor. In communist society, accumulated labor is just but a means to widen, to enrich, and to promote the existence of the laborer. My dear friend Carl, I wholeheartedly agree. I believe in, and in fact dedicated my entire life's worth to fighting for a strong American left. We need the left to create a world that serves the workers. And that's what the Socialist Party does. It shows that there's a better world to be created. Whether it be in the textile mills of Lawrence and other mills of New England where men, or whether it be the lumber and railroad camps of the far northwest where men are herded like cattle. In all these battles, the workers against their capitalist oppressors, the Socialist Party has the most vital concern and is freely pledged to render them all the assistance in its power. These are the battles of the workers in the war of the classes and the battles of the workers. wherever and however fought, are always and everywhere the battle is of the Socialist Party.
Debs, you are such an inspiration. Even now in the modern day, the benefits of joining a union is clear. Higher wages, better benefits, and more secure retirement. If we are serious about reducing income and wealth inequality and rebuilding the middle class, we have got to substantially increase the number of union jobs in this country. Higher wages are crucial in the increasing cost of living we are seeing. I don't believe it is a terribly radical idea to say that someone who works for 40 hours a week should not be living in poverty.
Dishonorable Senator, what kind of nonsensical, psychotic schemes are you spouting at this moment? A 40-hour work week? In what world are you living in?
Nice one, thanks.
You know what? They just don't understand my vision. Sometimes universities and museums are the things that get the jobs done.
No. Andrew! Donald's here,
Nice to see you.
and he brought some food.
Donnie! It's great to see you! Come on in!
What do I think of Trump? Well, he is a pathological liar who has authoritarian tendencies, who neither understands nor respects our Constitution. With that being said, this dinner party just got really funny.
This burger's terrible. Nasty burger. Huge disappointment. This is a tragedy. If these workers were not so dumb, they would pull themselves up by their bootstraps, just like I did.
What do you mean, bootstraps? You privileged pig? Something is very wrong when last year the top 25 hedge fund managers earned more than the combined income of 425,000 public school teachers.
Well,
You have no idea what bootstraps are. Can we please just be socialists already?
Socialists cry, power to the people, and raise their clenched fist as they say it. We all know what they really mean. Power over people, power to the state. There's no such thing as safe socialism. If it's safe, it's not socialism. And if it's socialism, it's not safe. The signposts of socialism point downhill to less freedom, less prosperity, downhill to more muddle and more failure.
Thatcher, please educate yourself, for the love of God. Communism deprives no man of the power to appropriate the products of society. All that it does is deprive him of the power to subjugate the labor of others by means of such appropriations. But don't wrangle with us so long as you apply to our intended abolition of bourgeois property the bourgeoisie's notions of freedom, culture, and law. Your very ideas are but the outgrowth of the conditions of your bourgeois production and bourgeois property.
whatever you say, Santa. I say not in a braggadocious way. I've made millions and billions of dollars dealing with people all around the world. And for the bored juicy, I'm more of a Diet Coke guy.
Start.
Good catch.
It's okay. I set out to destroy socialism because I felt it was at odds with the character of the people. We were the first country in the world to roll back the frontiers of socialism and roll forward the frontiers of freedom.
Okay, you can talk all you want, but in every age it has been the tyrant, the oppressor, and the exploiter who has wrapped themselves in the cloak of patriotism or religion, or both, to deceive and overawe the people. Your patriotism is merely a facade for your deceitful goals.
And what might those goals be?
To continue to erase the middle class and to broaden of the already gaping wealth gap, a nation will not survive morally or economically when so few have so much while so many have so little. But it seems like you don't care about the working people like you claim.
But with capitalism, there's always opportunity for economic revival. Everything that is broken today can be fixed, and every failure can be turned into a great success. Jobs can stop leaving our country and start pouring in. Crumbling roads and bridges can become gleaming new infrastructure. Inner cities can experience a flood of new jobs and investment. And rising crime can give way to safe and prosperous communities.
That's all well and good, but that doesn't just happen. Just because a failure can turn into success doesn't mean it will. Case in point, your presidency.
Oh, low blow. Low blow.
But can we please talk about the elephant in the room? We talk about workers, we talk about capitalism, we talk about communism, but we have yet to confront Andrew for his treatment of us.
Okay, well, excuse me, but I care deeply about the issues of my employees. A man's first duty is to make a competence and be independent. But his whole duty does not end here. It is his duty to contribute to the general good of the community in which he lives.
But you do not live in our community. Capitalism does a number of things very well. It helps create an entrepreneurial spirit. It gets people motivated to come up with new ideas, and that's a good thing. But it does not provide the provisions necessary for everyday citizens.
But is there not value in not spoon-feeding the public like teensy little babies? Wealth and prosperity should not be given. It should be earned. Capitalism breeds innovation.
One cannot deny the industrial and economic life that capitalism breathes into society, but one can certainly question whether it is worth the cost of the middle and lower class.
Sometimes economic salvation outweighs humanitarian struggles. But this wealth is not to feed our egos, but to feed the hungry and to help people help themselves.
Social gospel sounds well and good, but no matter your philanthropy, people will be excluded. This is a country anchored in slavery and settler colonialism, which means for better or for worse. The very history of the United States is a history of immigration and enslavement.
Our health insurance industry has an estimated market value of $1.3 trillion. You would expect us to throw that away?
It is unacceptable that the monthly cost of cancer drugs has more than doubled over the last 10 years to $9,990. In the United States of America, you should not be forced into bankruptcy for being diagnosed with cancer. The United States should join every other major nations and recognize that healthcare is the right of citizenship.
It's not like Obamacare is working anyway.
True. Despite the modest gains of Affordable Care Act, we have 30 million people who still have no health insurance. But there are still millions of others who are uninsured or uninsured due to the high cost of private health care. We also haven't mentioned corruption of education due to capitalism in our country.
Everyone already has access to public education, K through 12, if they pursue it.
But education is the key to salvation and revolution, and as it stands, education is not achieving the goals it needs to accomplish.
As it stands, education is still primarily a for-profit industry, along with everything else in our country. Education must not be sacrificed at the altar of profit.
Once again, I say that the richest and most powerful in a capitalist society are more than capable of supporting the education of the lower class. Ever heard of Carnegie Mellon University?
Yet, the middle class continues to disappear and the wage gap increases. In the United States, all people who have the desire and the ability should be able, in the changing economy, to receive all the education they have, regardless of their income. They shouldn't need to rely on the upper class to support them.
Speak on it.
Oh, I need a break. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, me too.
Wow, Trump is something.
Yeah, not sure about you, but I believe in social dislocation and creative trouble.
Oh, I agree.
Nonviolence is a core principle I strongly believe in. As I once said, we need every community a group of angelic troublemakers committed to nonviolent resistance as a way of life.
Nonviolence challenges oppression, and so does education. We often tend to think about education and activism as distinct and separate, but significant social transformation is always grounded in education. And the overarching purpose of knowledge is indeed to make a crucial difference in our social world.
That's exactly right, and now is better than ever, as now we reach the stage where we make specific, if minimum, demands, and a new revolutionary situation has developed. There is little middle ground on which to maneuver, and few compromises that are possible. For the first time, The white liberals are forced to stand for racial justice or to repudiate the liberal principles which they have always wanted to believe in.
You did a great work with the March on Washington.
It was quite pivotal for the civil rights movement.
Baird and I are like two peas in a pod when it comes to social justice and equality. Even if I do wish he went with more of a violent resistance, I guess he is clever since I'm the one that ended up in prison. Oh, speaking about imprisonment, I feel like we thus think about imprisonment as a fate reserved for others, a fate reserved for the evildoers, to use a term recently popularized by George W. Bush. Because of the persistent power of racism, criminals and evildoers are, in the collective imagination, fantasized as people of color.
If I may jump in, I'm glad to align myself with a party that declares for absolute equality. For social movements like Black liberation, it is important to know that men are men and human beings are human beings, irrespective of creed or color, and that any civilization based on the vicious fallacy that a race should be discriminated against on account of the color of its skin is a false and pernicious civilization, and a hypocritical one as well.
Oh, I'm feeling this for tonight.
Oh my goodness.
This is a beautiful 2018 Cabernet Sauvignon.
You know your wines, don't you?
Yes, it is a bold red. It should go very well with the steak for dinner tonight.
Well, I'm so excited, sir.
I'm sure Mark will hate it because he's a little pansy. But, you know,
That-
for the men like
that
us,
guy over there.
this is a beautiful wine. I look forward to drinking it with you.
Me too.
That was a good dinner. You know, Marks, I'm the one who paid for Carnegie Hall. You have no right to fill this house with your ugly propagandistic decor. You and your little comrades talk so much about how rich people have no taste and on and on and on. But I'll show you some taste.
He'll show you some taste.
My good friend Trump over here has shown me that I don't have to hide who I am because behind some phony statements to support your unions and philanthropy. I'm tired of all you commies trying to take away my hard-earned money. I'm sick of tired of you treading on me.
Massive. Massive.
You know what?
Get that ugly blue color off my wall!
I love it.
Hold me back! Hold me back!
You know, I'm glad to have influenced Carnegie's decor choices. I have pretty good taste myself.
Let's get out of here.
Sometimes I wonder how they ever even lived together in the first place.
Who knows? There are some mysteries that will never be solved.
Do you think that the state of America is one of those problems?
That's a really good question. I think it's impossible to know. Obviously, uninterrupted capitalism cannot be the answer, but I'm beginning to think that our socialist utopia is an impossibility. As a rule, large capitalists are often Republicans and small capitalists are often Democrats, but working men must remember that they are all capitalists, and that the many small ones, like the fewer large ones, are all politically supporting the capitalist class. This is always and everywhere their capitalist class.
Although I agree, I find hope in knowing that just because the pure versions of both sides cannot exist doesn't mean one will always dominate over the other. Throughout America, we have always seen one come to power while the other pushes back. Carnegie's industrial domination only served to open the doors for muckrakers to enact social change.
My own connection to socialism got me thrown into prison for speaking against the war machine. How can you say that capitalism has not been dominating communistic reform?
Because we made progress. If capitalism remained supreme, then the Gilded Age would have never happened, would have never ended. What being a socialist means is that you hold out a version of society where poverty is absolutely unnecessary, where international relations are not based on greed, but on corporations. We see these corporations every day, not just in the halls of our Congress, but in the movements of Angela Davis and Bayard Rustin. All of those around us tonight and around us every day play a role in the push and pull that has defined American progress.
That's really beautiful. Maybe there is hope.